Imagine an 88-year-old man, frail, confined to a hospital bed, struggling to breathe, yet still finding the strength to send a message that crosses continents and touches millions of hearts. This is Pope Francis, the leader of the Catholic Church, who since February 14, 2025, has been facing the toughest battle of his life at Gemelli Hospital in Rome. What began as simple bronchitis has turned into pneumonia that threatens to extinguish him. But today, February 25th, he spoke. And what he said to Latin America was not just a farewell or a plea for prayer. It was a cry of faith, a call for unity, and a mystery that leaves us wondering, could this be the final act of a pontiff who changed history? Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you goes beyond the official headlines. We are witnessing a moment that could define the future of over 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide. Francis, the first Jesuit pope, the Argentine who swapped the luxuries of the Vatican for a blue Ford Focus, is in a hospital room surrounded by doctors, machines, and secrets. At 88, he has already endured risky surgeries, has relied on a wheelchair since 2022 due to knee problems, and now battles a disease that has struck his lungs, kidneys, and even his blood. The Vatican says he is stable, but medical leaks tell a different story: asthma attacks, transfusions, and a body that seems to be giving up. Meanwhile, from his bedside, he sent words that thundered across Latin America, the land where he was born. But behind this message, there are doubts no one dares voice aloud. Is he merely holding on, or is the Vatican hiding something bigger? If you want to know the truth behind this story and hope for Francis's swift recovery, subscribe now and ring the bell. Every detail I'm about to reveal depends on it, so don't waste time. It all started 2 weeks ago on February 14, 2025, when Francis was admitted with what seemed like ordinary bronchitis. At 88, no one expected him to emerge unscathed from a respiratory infection, but what followed shocked even the most optimistic. Within days, the bronchitis turned into pneumonia, an inflammation that seized both lungs, one of which had already been compromised since his youth when part of it was removed. The doctors at Gemelli, a hospital reserved for the most influential, raced against time. Antibiotics, oxygen, and intensive monitoring were the first line of defense, but the Pope's body began showing signs of collapse. His kidneys, overwhelmed, displayed early signs of failure, reversed only with great effort. Blood tests revealed severe anemia and a drastic drop in platelets, forcing emergency transfusions. On Saturday, February 22nd, an asthma attack left him breathless for hours, an episode so severe it required high-flow oxygen therapy. For a man already bearing the scars of health struggles, intestinal surgery in 2021, a hernia in 2023, reduced mobility, it was as if fate were testing his limits. The Vatican, true to its tradition of discretion, released short, repetitive statements. His Holiness's condition is delicate but under control. But the faithful aren't naive. Leaks from inside the hospital suggest the situation is grimmer than they admit. An anonymous doctor reportedly said the Pope is fighting with all his strength, but his body isn't keeping up. Another rumor claims the medical team debates daily whether he'll last another week. And then, on February 25th, Francis did the unthinkable. With a weak voice, almost a whisper but laden with a determination few expected, he recorded a message from his room at Gemelli. It wasn't for the whole world, but for Latin America, Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, every corner of the region he calls our land. He thanked them for their prayers, their affection, their unwavering faith. "You are my refuge," he said, "my strength when my body falters." It was a moment of pure emotion, but also of mystery. Why now? Why only to them? To some, it was a gesture of gratitude from a man who feels the end drawing near. To others, a calculated move by the Vatican to keep the faithful calm while planning what comes next. Francis didn't stop at thanks. He spoke to the youth. Keep dreaming, keep building, because the future of the church is in your hands. To families, to those who suffer, to those who feel alone, he urged, don't let fear extinguish the light. God never abandons you. These words, spoken between pauses to catch his breath, set social media ablaze. Millions of Latinos united in prayer, sharing videos of him with tears in their eyes. But the message also sparked a debate. Was it a call to hope or a disguised farewell? After all, Francis hasn't been the same since he began relying on a wheelchair in 2022. His knee betrayed him, his sciatica has tormented him for years, and each public appearance shows a man frailer, more stooped. Yet he insists on leading. The Catholic Church, with its 1.3 billion faithful, stands at a crossroads. Francis is a pope of ruptures. He rejected luxury, clashed with political leaders like Donald Trump and Jair Bolsonaro, and tried to reform the Vatican from within. In 2022, with the document Praedicat Evangelium, he decentralized the Roman Curia's power, but appointed young cardinals, many from Latin America, Asia, and Africa, to shape the Church's future to his liking. This infuriated conservatives who accuse him of diluting tradition. And now, with him in the hospital, the question looms, who will inherit his throne? Some see in this the shadow of an ancient prophecy by St. Malachi, which claims Francis, dubbed Peter the Roman, will be the last pope before an unprecedented crisis in the Church. Financial scandals, loss of followers, and internal strife already fuel this narrative. Coincidence or destiny? While doctors monitor every beat of his heart, the Vatican prepares in the shadows. Francis has spoken of resigning as Benedict XVI did in 2013, but insists he still has strength. Does he? In December 2024, 2 falls in a matter of days, one on his arm, another on his face, showed he can barely stand. And yet, from the hospital, he celebrates masses, makes statements, tries to prove he's still in command. But for how long? Latin America weeps and prays, but also wonders. Are we witnessing the end of a pontificate that promised to change everything? Or is the Vatican just buying time until it decides the next step? Francis's message to Latin America wasn't just comfort for the faithful. It was an earthquake that shook the Church and the world. On February 25, 2025, with oxygen tubes at his side and a medical team on alert, he looked into a simple camera and spoke. "Brothers of Latin America, your love and prayers sustain me," he said, his voice trembling but his eyes steady. He named countries like Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, and Brazil, asking them not to let despair prevail. "You are a people of struggle and faith," he declared, "and I carry you in my weak heart." Those words, recorded in a hospital room at Gemelli, spread like wildfire through the streets of Bogotá, the favelas of Rio, the plazas of Buenos Aires. But while millions were moved, others began digging deeper. What didn't he say? And why did the Vatican let such an intimate moment air? Francis's health is a puzzle no one seems able to fully piece together. Since February 14th, when he was admitted, what was supposed to be treatable bronchitis turned into a nightmare. Pneumonia took over, and doctors fought to stabilize a man whose body already bore the weight of decades of battles. A lung compromised since youth, kidneys that nearly failed, anemia requiring transfusions, each day brought a new complication. On Saturday, February 22nd, an asthma attack pushed him to the brink of collapse, with hours of machine-forced breathing. The Vatican, with its usual caution, repeated the mantra, "It's under control." But internal sources say otherwise. A nurse, under anonymity, revealed that the medical team doesn't know if he'll make it through this week. And then another leak suggested cardinals are already discussing succession in secret meetings. So why did Francis choose this moment to speak? The answer might lie in Latin America, the region he's always carried in his heart. As the first pope from the Southern Hemisphere, he shifted the Church's axis, giving a voice to places Rome historically overlooked. Since 2013, when he took office, he's appointed cardinals from peripheries like Haiti, Tonga, and of course Latin America, challenging European hegemony. His February 25th message seemed a testament to that. "The future of our church is in your hands," he told Latin American youth. For many, it was an acknowledgement that his time is running out and that he wants to leave the church in the hands of those who understand the people's struggle. But some see something darker. Could it be a sign he knows he won't return to St. Peter's throne, or an attempt to calm the faithful while the Vatican plots the next chapter? Francis has never been an ordinary pope. He rejected the Apostolic Palace for a simple residence, swapped limousines for a Ford Focus, and faced political giants fearlessly. In 2016, he clashed with Donald Trump, calling those who only think of walls unchristian. He criticized Jair Bolsonaro over the Amazon and sparred with Argentina's Javier Milei, who labeled him the representative of evil. These fights made him an icon for the poor, but a thorn in the side of the powerful, inside and outside the church. In the Vatican, his crusade against financial corruption, like the 2019 audits of the Vatican Bank, rattled dangerous interests. Remember Roberto Calvi, the God's banker, found hanged in 1982. Many say meddling in the Holy See's finances is signing a death warrant. Is Francis paying that price now? The prophecy of Saint Malachi hangs like a dark cloud over all this. Written in the 12th century, it lists every pope until the church's end, and Francis would be Peter the Roman, the last before its collapse. His 88 years, his frailty, the scandals and internal divisions feed this theory. In 2022, when he began using a wheelchair, some saw the beginning of the end. In 2023, hernia surgery nearly took him down. And now, at Gemelli, each breath seems a miracle. But he doesn't give up. From the hospital, he celebrates masses, records messages, holds the reins with trembling hands. To the faithful, it's unshakable faith. To skeptics, a performance to maintain the illusion of control. What comes next is the great unknown. Francis has opened the door to resignation, as Benedict XVI did in 2013, but insists he still has strength. In August 2023, he visited the tomb of Celestine V, the first pope to abdicate in 1294, reigniting speculation. Celestine died soon after resigning, under suspicious circumstances. Benedict XVI faced rumors of internal pressure too. Will Francis be the next to step down, or will they keep him in office until the end, while cardinals vie for power behind the scenes? He's appointed dozens of progressive cardinals, many Latin American, to secure his legacy. But conservatives, enraged by reforms like Predicat Evangelium, won't yield without a fight. Meanwhile, Latin America prays. The February 25th message united the region like few times before. "No distance can separate hope," Francis said, and the faithful responded with vigils, letters, promises. But the Vatican's silence on his true condition only heightens the tension. In December 2024, 2 falls in a few days showed he can barely stand. Now, in the hospital, he relies on doctors 24/7. Every gesture is planned, every word calculated. Are we seeing a pope resisting through faith, or a leader being propped up to avoid chaos? The Church's history is full of mysteries. John Paul: "I died in 1978 after 33 days, under circumstances never clarified." John Paul II survived an assassination attempt in 1981, and his Parkinson's was hidden until the end. Francis, with his transparency about pain, breaks that pattern. But to what extent? His message to Latin America might be his greatest legacy or his final breath. Only time will tell. For now, he fights, and we watch, caught between hope and uncertainty. If you've made it this far, it's because you want to know how this story ends. So, leave a comment wishing Pope Francis strength and subscribe with the bell activated. Let's follow every step of this journey together, rooting for his recovery and seeking the truth behind the Vatican's curtains. What do you think? Will he overcome this crisis? The answer might be closer than we imagine.